Welcome to Waste Management, everyone. My name is Melissa. Thanks for coming in today. I appreciate you investing time and energy into taking care of yourself. Today's class, we are going to focus on stabilization, and we'll start off by talking about what that even is and what that even means. And you guys, we are going to use a stability ball here today. I will have options for variations, and you'll see we'll even start off variations most of the time without a stability ball. So if you don't have one, don't panic. I need to change my view here. Okay. Okay, am I fitting in here? Okay, yeah. All right, so have that stability ball nearby and your mat out. Today it's gonna be pretty atypical compared to when I've taught you guys this class in the past. We're gonna do, I'm gonna say a lot less getting our heart rate up there, but I think your heart rate will get up there. I think you will sweat. It'll be like that nervous sweat, yeah? Like that stressed out kind of, this is a really big challenge feeling. So that's what I'm after with you today. So if we talk about stabilization, it means just what you would think of if you're thinking about the foundation of your house. And we're talking about core stabilization, spinal stabilization. So that's everything from your head down through your neck, through your chest, rib cage, through your abdominal area, even down out your tailbone. All right. So all of that alignment, everything stacked one on top of each other in what we call neutral alignment is what we're after when we're doing stabilization exercises. And there may be some movements in there, but more than anything else, we're trying to teach our body how to get these little bones that are so important into alignment and stay there while we're doing super complex things, and maybe things that are heavy or really explosive in sports. So we're going to work with a lot of mind focus today on taking care of that. And the first thing I want us to do today is to kind of figure out what is neutral. So I know most of you guys are looking at something, if you're in Zoom land out there. So I want you to turn sideways to Zoom land. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to close our eyes and we're just going to march in place. I just want you to march in place for a few seconds. Just kind of like not caring about what's happening. Okay, go ahead and just stop, hang out, pause. Now, turn your head, open your eyes, and look at what you see alignment-wise. Don't change anything. So I'm going to use my own body. This is going to look different on every single person, but I'm going to use my own body and my tendencies. They're very classic. In other words, most of you guys probably have it too. So my tendency, number one, in through my core, is you can see in through my chest. Now we normally have curves going on in our spine, but I've got a little bit of this going forward, the thoracic kyphosis. So that's out of alignment for me. I also have what is really common, a little bit of an anterior pelvic tilt, or kind of the booty pop, the little sway back. I like to think about our pelvis as a bucket. And our pelvis is normally tilted forward just a little bit. So if it was filled with water all the way to the top, water would spill out the front of that bucket. But what happens for a lot of us is we get into this kind of, really tipped forward position. There's a lot of bad things happening on my back here. So just take a look at what you see in your body. For most of us to get neutral, I have to kind of do what I call the Elvis pelvis, right? So like if I'm like, right? I'm not actually taking it to there, but because I'm used to living here, when I come to, I'm guessing that's probably neutral, and it is, I feel like I'm like this, because it's, it's the mind-body connection. So why am I bringing this up? And same thing with my chest. So I don't, with this where I want to be, it's not about this. It's not about pulling my shoulder blades back. It's about lengthening, yeah? So if you're old enough to know it, this didn't work on a friend of mine recently, so it made me feel old. ET analogy, okay? So everybody knows ET, and his head grows tall. He sees like, what's her name? Gertie with the Reese's Pieces. Head stretches up. I think about that, like somebody standing over me and literally pulling my head up as high as you can. And you see how when I did that, it actually fixed this and this. So it's not about me going like this, right? It's about me just growing taller. Now, that's a challenge enough. Hopefully you guys felt some muscles different and some change happen in yourself there. But it's hard enough to do it when we're just standing there. I'm going to ask you to think about that and do that while we're working out. Because everything we do here today is going to want to bring all this out of the woodwork. And to keep it from not happening is going to require that we use the core. So that's where we're going to be, keeping everything neutral. I'm going to give you a lot of progressions. Please, please, please take the options if you need them. They're there as building blocks. What happens when we do stabilization exercises correctly? We really help to heal hips, lower backs, even help with knee problems, okay? If we do those same exact exercises wrong, we risk injuring all those same places. So I'll give you clues on where you should feel it and where you shouldn't feel it. Use both of those and your judgment to decide to modify. Because you'll see I'll give each exercise probably 3 times through with a progression. So if you did it the first time, you're like, oh, that was really hard, I'm not too sure, don't go for the next harder one. You can kind of change it up as you see fit. So we're gonna actually start off on the ground and we're gonna come down into a tabletop position. So might use some yoga words here for those of you who are my yoga people. Okay, so hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Now this sounds silly, but a lot of people get this wrong, right? I tell people go here. This is awesome. Like no work is happening because I'm just kind of like there, kneeling. When I bring my knees actually under my hips, my body said, oh, I got to do a little bit of work here to stabilize. Now, another thing a lot of us do is we push back. I want you to bring weight out into the hands. Now, imagine your shoulders and each of your hips are corners of a table. And what I'm going to ask you to do is lift up arms and legs and to not let that table shift move. You put like a hot beverage on your back. All right, so first thing we're going to do is engage the core. We're going to lift the right leg off the floor. Oh, my stability ball's in the way. And we're going to extend and press the right leg behind us. So just the right leg's lifted. Now I want you to think about that length through the spine that we talked about. I want you to think about that neutral spine. You should already be feeling a lot of work. Heel should be at hip height, so you can check that in your camera if you can. Look back and make sure everything's going in a straight line. Now, our right leg's lifted, yeah? Brace again. We're going to lift and hold the left arm. Now, we're reaching forward with the left fingertips, pulling the left shoulder blade back and down. So no shrugging. Our head and neck and shoulders are part of the deal as well too. Good. Keep breathing while you're here, and then go ahead, bring everything down. Settle in. That should have already felt difficult. I'm already right in the face. Okay, abs in. And we're going to lift and hold that left leg. Now, as we go through class, you might feel differences one side to the other in your body. And that's not atypical. Most of us have that. So those are things that you can work on, especially if you have something like lower back pain or hip pain on one side or the other. Now, lift the right arm up and reach that forward. Maybe even it's a limitation strength-wise in a shoulder. I'm feeling that on this side. So again, think about the length through the spine, spine, spine. If this is not feeling difficult, it's all about the technique. Good. Because none of that was about me lifting my right leg and my left arm. I mean, I could just do that, right? I can just hold that all day long. No, I was making everything perfect, as close as you can, the whole entire time that I was there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and alternate these, but we're going to do the hold. Okay. So brace yourself and go back to the first side. Right leg, left arm, reach, and hold right here. Just hold. Now this is going to be our first option in this exercise. So if you would like to, you can always come back here and maybe we'll hold, for 5, 10 count, switch, whatever you can with good connection and good form. Try to keep it the same, both sides. No falling over, no tipping. Awesome. And let's switch sides again. Another thing we can do with this one, is we can, and I want you to do, there's 2 different ways of doing this. I'm not going to do a crunch, but I'm actually going to reach my knee and my elbow in. I'm not trying to get them to touch necessarily, and I'm not rounding my spine, right? I'm making it so nothing changes. Stabilization is the name of the game. So the movement just makes it an extra big challenge. I feel this not just in my abs, I feel this big time in my shoulders, I feel this in my glutes, both legs, not just the moving leg. Yeah? Oh, it's getting tough. Let's go for 3 more. And we're gonna switch to the other side. Remember, it's all about finding perfectly neutral, wherever you think your perfect is. Last one. Oh, it can always get better. Yeah, okay. And deep breath in, other side. I'm gonna lift up, hold, come into neutral. Press through the heel, reach through the fingers, lengthen through the crown of the head. The more I can teach my body to maintain a neutral spine here, when I can focus on it, the more likely it's going to be to just end up in neutral when I'm playing sports, when I'm hanging out around the house, when I'm at work on my feet. And let's start with that elbow and knee towards each other. Reach, find neutral. So a lot of us like to do this with this one. I see this a lot. Yeah, it's not about my elbow and my knee. It's about nothing moves that doesn't have to. Ooh, easier said than done. It's like, how perfectly straight of a line can you make that on that outreach? Last one. Okay, nice job. Now, take a little break, push back in a child's pose, maybe arch up, down a couple times. Okay, so that's our transition to the next one. That should have been a big challenge for everyone. I'm sweating. How silly is that, right? We're gonna make this more difficult if you're ready for it. So your options to stay just right there. And what I would suggest is you alternate sides. Maybe again, you're holding for that 5-10 seconds, alternating sides. If you're ready for more, you're gonna come down to the ball with me. Okay, so this is not truly a plank. I'm gonna have my weight into my hands. These are basically just pointers on the ball, but we're gonna actually start off with a modification that's still a big challenge, but a little bit easier. Okay, so I kind of have maybe my belly button is centered on the top of this ball. So bracing everything, again, pulling the shoulders down as well too. And we're gonna lift our right arm up off of the floor. And if this is really super, like you're falling over, again, get down on the ground and put the right hand down. Now we're gonna lift the left arm off the floor. Notice how different that might feel. That feels so different to me, it's crazy. And bring that hand to the floor. Now we're gonna lift the left leg, it doesn't wanna do it, off the floor. Different kind of a challenge in the core. Oh, my shoulders were shrugging up. And bring that foot down. And now lift the right leg up off the floor. So I'm calling this our around the world dogs on the ball. Now you can stay there, just going around in the circle, right arm, again, maybe you're holding for 2-3 seconds. Maybe you're just in with control and then get out of that movement. And I'm just gonna make this circle around my body. I was trying to cheat on that last one. I shifted my weight back. Okay, so keep going there, or if you want the really big challenge, we're gonna progress this into a pointer on here, okay? A bird dog. So I'm doing opposite arm, opposite leg. Maybe you can hold it out there. I'm kind of like looking for the, just get there, come right back down. None of this is resulting in me arching through the lower back, none of it. So I'm, again, using the same muscles that I was on the floor. Now you may feel a little bit more glute. This should feel harder in general, but I'm looking for that same feeling. So if it starts to feel bad at all, just take a break. You can go into that child's pose. A couple more here. You should be starting to feel the burn and the shake. Yeah? Ooh. Let's go one more each side. Really brace, brace, brace. My body wants to fall right off of this thing. Okay, awesome. Oh, nice. Give that a little release. So even if you were on the ground, just continue with our first option. You still managed to find a really big challenge. So now we're going to take that similar concept of neutral spine, we're going to take it on our back. So first one, we're not going to use the ball, but we will use it shortly thereafter. I'm going to put my, maybe I'll slide this way a little bit. Okay, that probably is a good plan. All right, so we're going to lay on our back, and we're all going to start with, I'm going to say this is the easiest option for this exercise, but I'm going to show several options, okay? So it's called a dead bug. Now we're in outer space, and I'm like, man, Melissa, how do I stack that when I'm down here? So the number one thing that's going to happen for most of us is this rib cage will pop up, and we get a big space here. Now neutral, for me, does have a little bit of space between the lower back. There we go. Now I'm totally neutral. I'm not actually overarching the back into the floor, but at its most advanced level, I'm just thinking about stacking. So now that we've got that nice and neutral, if you can, if this takes you out of neutral, I'm going to give you an option. You can put your feet on the floor and reach our arms up and our legs up. So we're going to do dead bugs. I'm going to take my left leg and my right arm, and I'm going to extend them out, holding them just above the ground, and then bring them back in. Okay, opposite side. Reaching out, and then coming back in. And I'm going to show an option here is to keep going with that one, guys, to just toe tap the opposite alternating leg. And remember, this option is here throughout. Okay, so I'm pressing out long. As I get out really long, that is when everything wants to lift up off the floor. So that's when I'm working my very hardest. Now, one of the ways that you know you're stabilizing your spine correctly when we're doing stuff like this on the back is that you're not feeling the lower back. So you're feeling abs and you're not feeling the lower back. Finding good form is half knowing what we should feel and half knowing what we don't want to feel. Good. Take a little break. You can hug the knees to the chest. Now, are you ready for a bigger challenge? We're going to do it with the stability ball. 2 different levels here, okay? Keep with the same dead bug if that's where you're at. It's a beautiful place to be, guys. Okay, for the dead bug stability ball action. Here, we're going to start with level 1. Okay, so you can either be pushing your hands this way or kind of karate chopping that way. I kind of like the karate chop. It engages a little more lats, but either way is fine. So we're going to bring our knees up over the hips just like they were in our traditional dead bug. And now what I'm going to do is I'm kind of simultaneously pulling my knees up into the ball while I'm karate chopping from the shoulder blades down into the ball to hold for stability. Oh, I already feel my abs. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but we're going to make our left leg and our right arm leave. I have to keep pushing into the ball with the other side and then come back and hold. And we go again. I know, this is tough, isn't it? Ooh, and I already told you that there's another level option. We're just going to do a couple of these, guys. These are really tough core exercises, so we don't have to do a huge volume. Again, if you're doing them correctly. So if you walk away from this hating me for the next couple days because you don't know how those couple of exercises could have done this to you, bravo. You have a good sense of your core. If you walk away from today saying, gosh, I didn't like that workout, that was easy. It's about the mind-body connection. You're not magically the strongest person in the world there. Okay. Give a little break. Give a little release. Ideally, you shouldn't be feeling anything in that lower back. Mine feels good and happy. I'm listening to it. Keep it like the first one, no ball, like the one we just did. Or, if you can, we're going to do it with straight legs, okay? So, again, same thing here. I'm pushing into the ball. And opposite arm, opposite leg. So it really takes a lot of connection. Doesn't look like I'm doing anything with the arm and the leg that I leave behind. But again, I'm kind of karate chopping the ball into the front of the shin or the front of the knee and the opposite side. Now, if you were like absolutely super heroic and you wanted even more, you could hold out long. I find most of the time when I have people hold with stuff like that, they don't do it correctly. So maybe they can hold it for a long time, but they hold with their spine out of neutral. I want you guys to teach your back how to be in its rightful position. We're gonna go for one more on the other side. Even it up, and ouch, mercy. I didn't like it at all. Give it a little stretch, a little release. Woo! All right, probably don't jump up as fast as I did, but there you go. All right, this next one we're gonna do is gonna get into the core, but it's also gonna get into the legs. So I mentioned this is great for the hips and the lower back. So I very much consider a lot of these muscles to be core muscles. Now, we talked about the pelvis doing this at the beginning of class. By the way, did you see how we used that functional movements as our warm-up? You know, we started easier, just the legs, you know, just the arms. Anyhow, I digress. So the muscles that we're gonna work next are responsible for holding us into alignment this way. So this is what I call like the water cooler talk when you're at work gossiping, and you're like, yeah, I did this over the weekend. Nobody's ever like neutral position talking about the fun they had, right? So a lot of us, when we go to lift a leg, this happens because these muscles are weak. Lower back pain, hip pain, they live there. So we're gonna start off by doing a balancing exercise, and I want you to see how this feels. So start with your feet hip width apart, engage through your core, and we're gonna start by lifting our leg up off of the floor, bringing, if you can, maybe it's just here, okay? If you can, you're gonna bring the knee up to hip height. Now, what is happening here, and you can see this from the front, is you can see how my legs are staying in their own lane, right? If I drop through my hip like we talked about, do you see how my legs automatically wanted to collapse in? So stand up tall through the hip. That's a lot of what this is about. And really think about what are you feeling in the core, tying this all together, because we're going to feel something similar down on the ground. Now, if you're doing okay here, you can go ahead and try with me, taking it to the next level, and maybe you even arms overhead. Yeah. So I'm just opening up my hip to the side, and that, yeah, is making me want to fall out of that position even more. So I feel a lot in through my core and a lot in through my hip. Ooh. All right, bring everything down. So again, it should have felt like work, right? Like, you know, working out for a living, man. I'm feeling this. Okay, bring it up. But the devil's in the details. Okay, if I was here, I'd be like, oh yeah. Yeah, if you had a hard time bringing your leg away from you, that probably says that we need more help strengthening through here. So again, layers. You could hold on to something for a little help, but not much. I would want just like, if I was standing next to my client, I might literally give them my 2 fingers and give them the option of their 2 fingers, but not holding on. We staying tall. This feels so different on this side than the other one. And it makes sense for what I know about my body. So, and even here, I can drop through that hip. No, stand tall. Stand tall. You may also feel stuff in the foot and the lower leg, trying to help you with the balance. That's okay. But again, really take stock in what are you noticing here. Okay, awesome. That was not the easiest thing in the world, but we're gonna go down on the ground, and I think all of us can do what we are gonna do next. So we're gonna do a bridge. Think yoga, think stabilization here. So what we're gonna do here is bring our feet hip width apart. We're gonna slide our booty close to our heels, and we're gonna lift our hips up, and we're gonna just hold. And I want you to think about that neutral spine here. You're ideally trying to get knees, hips, shoulders in a straight line. And you're closing off your rib cage, everything nice, neat, and sweet. Now, if this is a huge challenge for you, just stay here. But if you can, we're gonna go ahead and press through the left foot, the left heel, so that we can reach, lift our right foot up off the floor. And maybe you're here, maybe you lengthen it. I don't really care about that as much as your leg that's on the floor, pushing, holding you up. Feel how your pelvis wants to tilt, and feel the similarities between this, a little harder than where we were standing. So go ahead, bring that foot down and readjust, reposition. And when you're ready, lift the other leg up. Now if you're like me, like, that's so crazy how different it feels one side to the other. Like no problem here, very difficult on the other side. And most of us have that imbalance. So I'm still using this core engagement here to even out and level off the hips, right? Boom. That was my core pulling this hip up. Good, set that down. Okay, so challenge, right? Option to stay there or option to come up on the ball with me. This is not about falling off the ball. This is not about hurting yourself. We're gonna be laying on the ball, head, neck, and shoulder supported. So kind of like how I have you guys do hip lifts. And we're gonna be in a letter T with active arms. This is very challenging. So do not hesitate to stay where you were already at. So I'll show you where I'm gonna be from this angle, and then I'm gonna quickly move. So we're starting right here. My head, neck, and shoulders are positioned on the top of the ball. My hips are lifting up. My arms are out in a letter T, but they're not just hanging there. They're energetic, and you're gonna need that here in a second. Because what you're gonna see me do next, hopefully you guys can see this good, is I'm gonna do a small little crab walk. Okay, you guys can see me. A small crab walk to one side. So let's go just 1 inch at a time. I'm actually moving my entire spine away from the ball. So my head is no longer centered in the ball. Now I feel a ton of work through my right hip, trying to hold up. My arms are strong, holding, even bigger feeling than we had in that bridge. And then let's crawl back to the center. Hopefully that made sense. Holler at me, guys, if this is not making sense. Now we're gonna crawl to the other direction. You're probably gonna find one side harder or easier than the other, and it's probably the same that it was in the other exercises. So this is my hard side. I'm like, wow, I don't know how it feels so different. And then come back to the center. So now we're getting into the core back, we're getting into the abs, we're getting into the glutes big time. Go to the other side. And I want you to play around with your maximum. Maybe you're shifting to one side and you're just holding it for, 2-3 seconds. Maybe you're going for 10 seconds. It's up to you. Yeah. This is really tough, isn't it? Very exciting, very exciting. Remember, if you're not ready for this, take the building block options. Keep remembering to press the hips up and don't just let the arms fall. They should hopefully be staying parallel to the floor the entire time. And then come back to neutral and slowly lower those hips down or sit all the way up. Okay, our finish line today. Classic plank. So many options. I'm gonna have us do it from the elbows. Here is our basics. So if you don't have a ball or that's intimidating to you because it's very hard on the ball, you can be right here on the knees or right here on the toes. Again, it's about no sagging back, arching. Now, there is an option, if you have an appropriate place to do this, a secure wall, that I could put this into a wall and do kind of a plank here, okay? It's a lot easier than what I'm gonna show you on the ground. And some of you guys have done this, okay? We're gonna go into a forearm plank here. So pick your poison, whatever your plank, because we're almost done. We're not gonna be here very long, guys. So I'm gonna have us do 3 quick little ones. So get up, find neutral. Do not let this happen, okay? That is not very much hard work going on there. Now, if this is a good challenge for you, awesome. If though you can, do you see I'm drawing a little circle with my forearms? And then a circle the other way around. Just having you hold this for 30 seconds. We're almost there. And good, take a break. Whoa, I don't think I can do the circles again. I'm gonna show you guys from the front, but I was having a hard time getting into neutral. If you're on the floor, stay on the floor. I don't want you coming up here for 2 seconds. Do you? All right, are you ready, guys? 30 seconds again, we're almost done. Okay, so from the front, what that looks like. And then I go the other direction. This is tiny, small, controlled Woo. And good. Give a little stretch. We got one more, and then we are done. This workout today hopefully did get you huffing and puffing in a weird way. It's also hard to breathe when we're doing core. But this strength stabilization stuff, awesome for lower back problems, hip pain, even knee pain. Ooh. All right, here we are. Best you can. I know mine is not perfect at this point in the game, but we're just going for our best. So the whole time I'm here, I'm thinking about my shoulders, my chest, my hips, and again, not feeling anything in through the lower back. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, mercy. Good job, guys. Okay, let's drop down to our belly and give a nice stretch through the core, through the trunk, through the spine. Push up. Good. And again, over the long run, this kind of stuff, awesome for helping you to deal with those pain issues. But you got to make sure you're doing it correctly and at the level that you're ready for. Nice twist through the spine. What we're going to do is reach the arm through all the way until the back of the shoulder blade touches the floor. You should feel this all the way through that thoracic spine. And let's go to the other side. I hope you can stick around. The next class, we're dealing with hip pain, so it'll be great for lower back pain, knee pain. Awesome. Let's go into a nice stretch for our hip flexors. So we'll stretch out through these muscles, reach up and away. And this one right here. Felt good. It's a whole different kind of challenge, whole different ball game. Reach back, down. When we can learn to do an even better plank, every burpee we get done in class gets better. Every mountain climber, every plank, every standing move as well too. Drop your fingers to the floor, let the knees bend, and then roll up through the spine. Thank you very much, you guys. I really appreciate you putting in the time, the effort. Your body does too. So I hope you feel sore in different places. Take care.